guys, it's a hot day here in Tennessee. It's even hotter on this shiny metal roof. I've got a 5-ton Ream air conditioner that has a bad compressor. We talked about the pros and cons of swapping out the entire unit. We would have needed a crane a long way down. So the owner has decided just to go with a new compressor for now and see how many more years he can get. So I just got everything carried up to the edge of the roof, so I was actually taking a break. That compressor about did me in. I think me and the compressor probably overdid the limits of the ladder slightly. Now if I don't fall through the roof carrying it over here, the old one might get accidentally dropped off. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I brought me a cord. I didn't figure they had a 110 volt outlet up here, but I brought me a cord where I can steal some power off of the disconnect, and I'm going to recover the existing R22. I'm going to check it for acid first. I think the compressor failure is actually mechanical versus a burnout. It'll actually try to start, but it sounds like a box of rocks, and then the thermal pulls out where the thing's locked down. So I'm going to check for acid. I'll recover the R22 that's in it, and because this new Copeland compressor has polyester oil, I will be going back with R407C, which is less expensive, and in the event we have to service this thing again, they won't have lost all that expensive R22 gas. And of course, in 4 years, I expect it to be much higher than it is today. Bought me a new recovery tank just so I wouldn't have to lug one up here that had something in it already. So I'll get started taking this thing apart and get back with you. Okay, I was going to hook up to the disconnect, but I'm going to replace the contactor anyway, so I'm just going to use some wire nuts to cover up one wire and hook the other one to my cheater cord instead of going into the disconnect, because I'm going to need to take these loose anyway. And I'll also be undoing the terminals on this old compressor. I assume the new one's got the same terminal arrangement. Black is my common, red is my run, and start would be that little purple wire there. So I'll get started getting me some power and get this recovery unit running. I put it around here in the shade. I don't know how much that'll help, but it sure feels better to me when I'm in the shade, so we'll see. Okay folks, had to stop and talk to the owner a minute, but got the old compressor out. Here's what I was talking about doing with my power, so I could have my 115 volts for my recovery. I'll leave that and use it for my vacuum as well. What I did here was clean these up before I cut them, and then I cut them off as close to the compressor as I reasonably could. There's enough slack there that I should be able to just stretch them out and make them fit back into the new compressor. I cleaned the pan up a little bit. Of course, I always get a lot of debris down in them, but the drain hoses are open, so it should be fine. So I'm going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and try some of this R11 flush. Run a can through it. The evaporator's right below me here, and just see if we get anything out of it. Okay, I've got the flush in there. I'm going to use some nitrogen now to follow it up, see if we get anything out. It's going to go both directions. Smells good on a hot day. how much of that black stuff come out of the lines and how much was already in the bucket. But as long as we get it all vacuumed out, it shouldn't hurt anything, right? Down in the lines there, still some black goo in there. I'm going to run some more flush through the other way and try it again. I got her as clean as she's going to be, and this stuff don't stick around long. There was a little bit in this bucket just a second ago, and by the time I set the compressor up in here, it's about evaporated now. You can see it's evaporating really quick. So some sort of a solvent. It'll eat styrofoam if you splash it on it. So I'm not going to bolt it down until I get the connections brazed up, because I'm going to have to stretch these out a little bit. It's a lot easier to do after you've got some weight behind it. So if I get these brazed in, I should be able to position it anywhere I want to and get the bolts back in. Okay. Got that all brazed in, all the while flowing nitrogen. So what I'm going to do now is slide the compressor over where the hose are and get it bolted down. Okay, she slid right over there and bolted up. I usually I got a little 1/2-inch drive socket that I just stick on a adapter there for my little impact, and it makes short work of these things. So what I'm going to do now is make me a spot right here for my liquid line dryer. This conduit's in pretty rough looking shape. I'll talk to him about, I guess we can couple it right down here and slide a new piece over top of it, but fortunately it's not got Romex in it. But I'll get this straightened out and get a place cut out to put my new dryer in. Okay, so I cleaned up the copper and cut out a piece to make room for the dryer. Tried to get the thermostat wire and what's left of this conduit out of my way. I've got my nitrogen going in here now and coming out over here, so I will get this thing sweated in and we'll be ready to pressure test it. Nothing like the smell of old burnt Rubitex. I'll cool this stuff off now and check it out with a mirror and put some nitrogen on it. As you can see by the gauge, this nitrogen tank's about empty. I'm getting up to about 115 psi on it out of this tank. That was a brand new tank too when I brought it up, so fortunately I keep one on the truck. I will carry this one down, bring another one up, and raise the pressure up and make sure we don't have a leak, and then we can start pulling a vacuum. Okay, new nitrogen bottle. Just turn it on up a little bit. Probably try to go to about 150 since it's R22. That ought to do it there. I'll let that equalize a minute. It's going through the metering device. And then I'll set the timer on the test hose to make sure I don't have any leaks. In the meantime, I need to get started doing something about the capacitor. Obviously this wasn't the original. I think the one I've got is actually the same diameter, so I'll probably end up making a strap for it. This was a 55.5. The specifications on the unit, I looked them up, called for a 60-5, but this new compressor, which is the same number, just a different version, calls for an 80. So I picked up an 80-5 capacitor, and I'll put it in along with the new contactor. It doesn't have a crankcase heater or anything. I may just put a 2-pole contactor on it. Now she's been holding 10 minutes and looks like it's came up 1/10 of a pound. This, as long as it's not moving on these digital gauges, I don't get too stressed out. I let my vacuum make sure that we're okay, because a lot of times these hoses will have a little bit of a leak, especially when you're testing up around 250 psi or something. So I'm going to go ahead and well, I've got to go down and get the vacuum pump, and since I think I'm leak free, I'll probably carry the torches down on the way. Never take your torches down until you get a good pressure test. It's a bad omen. Alright, she's pulling down nicely, about 440. I've broke the vacuum with nitrogen a couple of times, so I'm going to get the wiring. Of course, they did change the terminal layout, so they give you these stupid little flag terminals, which I've never found a good crimper to crimp these things. Even the flag terminal crimpers I haven't been able to have good luck with, so I usually use these little high temperature standard crimps. There's plenty of room in this box to turn the wire after it comes off, so that's what I'm going to use instead of these that they sent with it. Okay guys, the vacuum held good, so I've replaced my vacuum gauge with a hose that's already been bled full of the 407C. So I've got my scale pretty much zeroed out. I'm bouncing around on this roof, so I'm going to start putting the 407C into the system. This thing originally held 112 ounces, plus, well, it's probably got less than a 15-foot line set. Zach said start at 80%, so that's what I'm going to do. She started up, which is always a good thing, and I'm currently operating at about a 20-degree superheat. I stopped right there because I want to go down and get a wet bulb reading. The thermostat said 89 as far as dry bulb down there. It's about 90 up here on this roof still yet. So I'm going to go down and get a wet bulb. And I've been down 10 times to get a strap for this capacitor and never have made it back with one. So I've got to do that too. So I'll let it run a little bit and see where we are. Well, it wanted 19 and we're right all over it. Brought me a strap up. I'm going to turn off the power and put that strap on it. Get the rest of this stuff down off of here. And I'm going to run back by in the morning, and once it gets down to temperature inside, then make sure everything looks good. I'll do another acid test on it as well, make sure that we cleaned it up good. And we'll be 407C, baby. Okay, I just went ahead and moved the capacitor over to this side since there was actually more room where there's no defrost board. So it's strapped down. Superheat's coming back down. I just fired it back up. It's at 20 right now. I'll come and check it tomorrow once the room gets the temperature, but that's about where it needs to be. Got to put these stickers on. I think I'm going to put one on the disconnect. This side of the unit gets a whole lot of sun, so the labels tend to not last very long. So I may try to clean it out down in there and put one where anybody trying to hook up to the service ports would see it. I guess I could put it right here too. That'd be right in front of their face. That's probably a better idea. Less chance of getting crap over it. So that's what I'm going to do. One right here and one on the disconnect. 407C. Carry this last bit of stuff down the ladder. Got out of here before the sun went down. Easy day. Okay, stop back to the compressor changeout job. It's the next morning. The temperature inside's cooled down. Got a 12 degree superheat, 7 degrees subcool, 13 degrees bounce around a little bit. 57 suction pressure, about 225 on the head. I wrenched the coil out. It was pretty dirty, had a lot of dirt in it. I went ahead and drug the garden hose up here and rinsed both of them out. This didn't come out of the coil, it was just laying up under the curb there. Just a lot of dirt. There's a pretty busy highway right here. I'd say most of it was probably from diesel fumes. But you can see that or not. Hard to do. Anyway, everything looks good. I'm going to put the cover on and submit the invoice. Thanks for watching. One more thing, let's see if our flushing worked, because the system was pretty dirty. I think she looks pretty good.